Business. Emma James with Media Watch. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You've been looking at the reaction online to the fall of the Islamic State group in Mosul.
Yes, absolutely. And there has been a lot of reaction to this online, and often with social media, especially Twitter, we tend to say that it's simply not long enough. You don't have enough room to express what you need to say with 140 characters. But when it comes to Mosul, it is very easily expressed, it would appear. This is one of the best tweets by a columnist for Middle East Eye, and he has the image there of Mosul and says simply, when liberation equals total destruction. But there are two sides of the coin on this. Iraqi Day is another Twitter account that says good morning from the liberated Mosul, and a very happy looking man playing a guitar there. So there are more than there is more than one side to this story, shall we say. Lots of Twitter threads from journalists who are in Mosul and have been for some time. Rukmini Kalimachi is one of them from New York Times. Her Twitter feed is well worth a look because it gives you an awful lot of information as to what is going on there, what it is really like. She says it's premature to say this operation is over. I'm sad to see that victory against ISIS came at such a price. Another one of her tweets that caught my eye was this one, which really gives you an idea of the twisted reality that is now something approaching normal in Iraq. A pink children's rucksack with a Disney character, a little white kitten drawn on the front, that was found to contain white explosives. And that was something, she said, obviously the finding a backpack full of explosives is nothing unusual, but for it to be inside a child's rucksack is something different. Francesco Monocchi is a freelance journalist who has been tweeting from Mosul all day as well. She tweeted these images earlier on today of the soldiers of the Golden Division celebrating after their Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi announced that Mosul had indeed been taken from the Islamic State. One of her other tweets, though, really brought home the sort of immense sadness and immense destruction that has happened there and has affected ordinary civilians. Today in the old city of Mosul, I asked an Iraqi soldier, are civilians still inside? He started laughing and then replied, they are all under the rubble. So really very grim tales emerging, and you see again a sense of the dangers and the devastation when you look at the long format journalism that has been done on the fight for Mosul. This article from BuzzFeed was actually written back in February by Mike Giglio, but it's being reshared again today because it is as relevant now as ever. And this is a real focus on that Golden Division, which he describes as Iraq's best soldiers, the almost invincible killers of ISIS. This article goes into great detail about the kind of brutal urban combat they faced, but also looks at the close bonds that are formed between these soldiers. And one major in particular talks about the fact that he's lost every best friend he ever had in this fight against ISIS. Newsweek as well has a very disturbing read, but a very interesting one too, looking at how we combat the indoctrination of children who have been brought up in areas held by ISIS, because of course they have been filled with propaganda. They've watched open-air movies of how to kill the kuffar, or the unbelievers, as they call them. One of the saddest things about this is talking to people who are trying to sort of rehabilitate them, if you like, and they talk about the small victories, and they really do seem so small, where they say that the children are asking to draw pictures or asking to play music, and for them that is a huge breakthrough because that was banned by ISIS, but it shows the scale of what still needs to be achieved.
Overwhelming task ahead. Now, here in France, Emma, there's been some record-breaking downpours here in the French capital, bringing some fairly tricky conditions for commuters, especially in the Paris metro system.
Yes, absolutely. Paris isn't normally used to downpours, especially in July, and these were record-breaking. This cartoon from Dominique Goubel has the Paris Plage sign, of course, because Paris's riverbanks ordinarily are a place for people to sit and sunbathe come the summer. But as it says here, the capital is underwater. And it was a record-breaking rainfall, 50 millimetres in 1 hour. The last time that we even came close was 22 years ago. That was just 47 millimetres. And not that many of the metro stations were actually closed. And when you see some of the images, you wonder really whether that was wise. The staircase here at Porte d'Orléans turned into a sort of a waterfall, really, a torrent.
It's a cascade.
It is really, they're quite impressive scenes when you consider that it is only a question of 50 millimetres in an hour.
I'm surprised they didn't charge to show you that. It's great.
Absolutely. This is the scene in Duroc, where it's been turned into something of an impromptu swimming pool.
Hardly a perfect place.
No, indeed. And this one, I think we've seen this image many times. It's been shared a lot. And this Twitter user saying,
it's amazing.
You leave the metro the way you enter a swimming pool, you have to take a shower, because it literally is that. And if you walk through that, you would get soaked.
You need to wear flip-flops as well, I suppose.
Absolutely. I loved this tweet from Ben McParland as well. Downpours in Paris, metro stations and roads flooded, and they're still driving crazily because, of course, the French will continue to drive however they wish, no matter what the conditions are. There's a little blue car. There we go. Just fabulous. Elsewhere, people talking about, again, the early arrival of Paris Plage, says this person. And final note on this one saying that it's like scenes from Titanic, the terrifying images inside the Parisian metro.
Finally, an epic match at Wimbledon. Can you quickly tell us about that?
Very quickly indeed, because we don't have much time, but Gilles Muller has pulled off an immense coup, beating Rafael Nadal. It took him 4 hours, 47 minutes. Lots of people tweeting about just how long the match took when Nadal and Muller finally finished their match at Wimbledon. And one last thing I have to show you is this. Some people wondering if this is the reason why Rafael Nadal lost. If we could start that again. He actually, while warming up, jumped up and hit his head. So some wondering whether that may have affected his ability to play.
I'm sure that might have. Nonetheless, well done to Mr. Muller. Great result, and I'm sure Nadal will be back in some shape or form, probably with a bruised head. Emma, thank you very much indeed for Media Watch. Thanks to Kate for the business. Great to see you. And thanks to you for being with us. Stay with us, though. More to come here live from Paris.